Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chairs a special work meeting on the preparations of the 2025 Inter-African Trade Fair. Algeria is now the heart of the African trade. The country shows how the continent can move from raw goods to real added value. Bayrouth's government is going through dark times as anger keeps growing among the French people. In Gaza, the humanitarian situation is still chaotic. The Zionist entity continues its daily violence and maintains the blockade. Welcome back. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chaired on Monday a special work meeting on the preparations of the opening ceremony of the 2025 Inter-African Trade Fair that will be held in Algiers from the 4th to the 10th of September. The meeting was attended by the acting Prime Minister Sefi Riyeb, the Director of the Cabinet of the Presidency of the Republic Boualem Boualem, the President of the Republic's advisor in charge of communication at the Presidency of the Republic, the Commissioner of the Fair L'Arabi L'Atrash, the Security Services, the General Director of the Algerian Agency for Investment Promotion, and the President of the Council of the Algerian Economic Renewal. Hosting the IATF reflects Algeria's strong will to play an actual economic role and also its strategic vision to reinforce its position as the heart of trade and investment of the continent. The Intra-African Trade Fair is back and Algeria is in the spotlight, from farming to factories and now to clean energy. The country is showing how Africa can move from raw goods to real added value. More details with Daniel Bahri.
The Intra-African Trade Fair is back and it's big. With over 2,000 companies and more than 3,500 visitors, it's one of the continent's top business events. It's not just about trade between African countries, it's also about building bridges with the Arab world and the Mediterranean basin countries. And Algeria is stepping up with strong agriculture and a growing manufacturing sector. Algeria is showing how African economies can shift from selling raw materials to exporting finished products.
Goal is the integration of our industry and agriculture with the raw material from Africa. So I think today the major important thing for international trade for Algeria is to focus on Africa, to make Africa a base, a solid base, because you know, if you see Algeria, the geostrategical location of Algeria is a door toward Europe, is a door for Africa, and is also a door for the new partners of countries like India and China. I think Algeria, the overall economy today is on the green light. We don't have any debts. We have a good self-efficient agriculture program, which is important. We have a good new investment law that allows to foreigners to come to Algeria.
But it's not just about big industries. The fair is also a launchpad for startups. Algeria is helping young businesses connect with African markets, including different sectors, and turn local ideas into regional success.
The president has, put a new startup policy in Algeria and created the Ministry of Startup and created a new, challenge for this industry. I think Algeria has a great role in the services, and I think this is the great opportunity also to show to our African brothers that we can make things about intelligence industry, and we hope things are going to be very fast and very quick to promote the startup in Algeria first, and after to go in Africa and to make things happen. And our African brothers are waiting for that because we have a good experience now. Since 4 years ago, we did a lot of things in this field.
And there is more. The IATF is looking ahead to clean energy. Algeria is using its traditional energy strength to explore green hydrogen and lead the way in Africa's energy future.
Algeria is all the time leading African initiatives. So we have to know that Algeria signed a memorandum of understanding last year between Algeria, Tunisia, Italy, Austria, and Germany. That memorandum of understanding is how to provide green hydrogen to European Union, so which is called South H2 corridor. If this project will be done, will be realized, I think it will be, let's say, again, it will be a pioneer project in the world. So talking about renewables, I think that Algeria has great potentials available at the moment. We have a great desert. More than 90% of Algerian area is desert. So I think we have large solar energy, and we can really, let's say, capture that energy, and we can produce green energy. And I think Algeria, as was before, leading country in fossil energies, but Algeria can play a crucial role also in renewable energy.
From agriculture to manufacturing and now to clean energy, Algeria's presence at the Intra-African Trade Fair reflects a bold shift, moving beyond raw materials to a diversified export strategy. Whether it's processed foods, industrial goods, or green hydrogen, Algeria is showing that African economies can add value, innovate, and compete globally. At the IATF, Algeria isn't just trading, it's transforming.
Algeria's hosting of the IATF positions the country as a key driver of Africa's economic integration, innovation, and trade transformation. Najah Tayyar with the details.
All eyes are now on Algeria as it hosts the IATF, an event that has grown beyond the scope of a simple economic forum to become a pivotal platform for shaping Africa's future. With trade integration and economic cooperation driving the agenda, the forum seeks to transform the continent's vast potential into concrete engines of growth.
Évidemment, les attentes sont nombreuses.
Expectations are high as the event is expected to facilitate and streamline trade exchanges, promote local processing, and add value to the African products. It also strengthens South-South cooperation. Algeria, as the host, is sending a strong message of economic leadership at the regional level. Traditionally anchored to the Maghreb axis, Algeria is increasingly asserting itself as a central player in Africa's integration strategy.
Centrale dans la stratégie d'intégration.
The IATF also serves as a true showcase, capable of identifying and connecting the most innovative operators. It attracts the attention of international investors drawn by the scale of the African market, particularly through the visibility given to the African Continental Free Trade Area.
La ZLECAf vise
The African Continental Free Trade Area aims to create a dynamic and integrated single market with the free movement of goods and services across the continent. To achieve the objectives of the African Continental Free Trade Area, persistence will be required, particularly in removing structural barriers through regulatory harmonization, reducing logistics costs, modernizing infrastructure, and ensuring political continuity. The IATF is also an opportunity to highlight the potential of African youth. This edition places an unprecedented focus on startups and African innovation. In recent years, there has been a strong momentum in the growth of digital ecosystems driven by the technology hubs of English-speaking Africa, particularly Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. Today, Algeria is catching up thanks to a creative youth and the opening of innovation centers and supportive policies for project developers. by fostering constructive dialogue between regulators and operators, strengthening trust among the African markets, and connecting businesses across borders. This event lays the groundwork for a truly integrated continental economy. These efforts mark critical milestone in turning the African Continental Free Trade Area into a tangible reality.
The acting Prime Minister Sifi Gharieb chaired on Monday via video conference a coordination meeting with the governors of the Republic, with the presence of the Minister of Interior, Local Communities and Regional Planning, Brahim Rad. This meeting was dedicated to the instructions of the President of the Republic regarding the preparations of the social return and also the local investment support. We'll listen to the acting Prime Minister.
The President of the Republic places particular importance on accelerating investment. This requires the involvement of all authorities, both local and central, to create a favorable environment, remove obstacles, and support the youth initiatives and innovative projects. Activity zones will be made available to young investors with simplified and fast procedures. Respecting the commitments made to citizens remains essential to strengthen their trust in the state and its institutions.
The acting Prime Minister highlighted the necessity of creating a full detailed national economy roadmap. We'll listen.
إن شاء الله اقتراح ورقة طريق.
A roadmap will be proposed which aim at developing the national economy guides and a national economic map. We now need to have accurate and well-studied figures. We will work together, me and the Minister of the Interior, and across all provinces to establish a national economic map that covers all sectors. This will enable us to understand our capabilities.
سوف يتسنى معرفة أولا إمكانياتنا.
For his part, the Minister of Interior affirmed that the local authorities are working on ensuring the success of the social return. We'll listen.
In light of the current challenges, public action must be based on efficiency, on-the-ground monitoring, and a sense of responsibility. Citizens do not judge through statements, but through the concrete impact of policies. Officials are therefore called upon to combine rigor and flexibility while taking into account local specificities in order to serve the general interest and implement the directives of the high authorities.
In application of the instructions of the President of the Republic aiming at reinforcing the bilateral cooperation with the Sultanate of Oman, the Transport Minister Saad Sayoud discussed in Oman with his Omani counterpart Saeed bin Hamoud Al Maouli the partnership perspectives in the sector of aerial transport between the two countries and also maritime transport, as well as ship repair and manufacturing and maritime training. France is facing critical days. The Bayrou government finds itself besieged by a parliament preparing to withdraw its confidence, a street seething with union mobilization, and financial markets expecting the worst. More details with Daniel Bahri.
The debate over France's financial crisis is no longer just about red numbers or government charts. It has become a suffocating reality that threatens the survival of the ruling power. Recent polls show that nearly 80% of French citizens have little confidence in the government's ability to handle these tough times. With a confidence vote set for September 8th and national-wide protests planned for September 10th and 12th, Prime Minister Bayrou finds himself under pressure from all sides, with austerity policies tightening the noose around his government. François Bayrou belongs to the past. No one supports his harsh budget anymore, the one that proposed cutting two public holidays, lowering wages, and creating a blank year that would have hit retirees hard. Bayrou is expected to fall on September 8th. Many say his departure as prime minister is almost certain, about 99%. The echoes of France's crisis have gone beyond Paris, making headlines in major global newspapers. The Financial Times warned of unprecedented pressure on French assets and the risk of economic paralysis, while The Guardian described the situation as dangerous economic void, stressing that France is stuck with debt exceeding 113% of GDP and facing a possible political collapse.
Vous mentez. La catastrophe, c'est vous.
You are lying. The real crisis comes from reducing popular consumption, which is the engine of more than half of the country's growth. France is facing economic problems, record debt, and growing protests. The next days could decide the government's survival and the country's stability.
And Gaza faces escalating devastation and a deepening health crisis as relentless strikes and inhuman blockade leave thousands of wounded without vital care or hope for recovery. Details with Najah Tayyar.
The Algerian television, and through its Gaza correspondent Wissam Abu Zaid, reports on new atrocities against Palestinians. Just meters away, the Zionist Air Force struck a residential building, leaving many dead and injured, including children rushed to hospitals. The family searched the rubble for loved ones as panic and chaos gripped the area. The blast was so sudden that even press crews couldn't put on their vests, and fear of further strikes looms.
3 missiles hit all at once. People are still missing. Others are trapped under the rubble. Everything happened so suddenly. I was at work and then I run here. What I see are children, innocent children, crushed under the debris. Entire families had taken refuge here, thinking they would be safe in a secure zone. But the Zionist Air Force deliberately targeted civilians, including women and children. Some are mutilated, others torn into pieces.
Since the start of the genocide, the Gaza Strip has lost more than 6,300 martyrs and nearly 160,000 wounded, including over 6,000 amputees, a suffering that worsened day after day. Under a suffocating blockade that closes crossing points to the sick and prevents the entry of medicine. According to reports from the Ministry of Health, 4,800 wounded still require medical care. They need specialized rehabilitation centers, constant medical follow-up, and prosthetic fittings. But since March 18th, when the truce was broken by the Zionist occupation, no rehabilitation tools, no medical equipment have been allowed into Gaza. Without treatment, without medication, without infrastructure capable of restoring even part of their shattered lives, every path to recovery remains blocked, intensifying the suffering of the wounded and turning their daily existence into an invisible battle that no one sees. Amid Gaza's ruins, children still cling to hope, the hope of walking and running again, escaping the Zionist barbarity that stalks them everywhere in what remains of Gaza, and enjoying a life as dignified as any child's, a life to play, not to flee from the world.
And with these painful images, we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Have a good night.